The reports are now firm and confirmed. Sam Darnold is the 2. Looks like Brandon Allen's going to be the 3. 49ers trying to figure out what they're going to do with Trey Lance, and the most likely thing on the board is to find a trade partner. I personally think it'll be done by Saturday. We'll see. But I see this, Dibs, and we're going to go back to the calls here momentarily. I see this as two things. Those of us in the media and a lot of you listening are not going to love them. But I find them to be the way football teams are run. Number one, they do not like tons of chatter about things that are going on in the background. They find it to be distracting. NFL teams do not want a ton of conversation and constant questioning going on with regard to who's winning QB2, who's QB3. Hell, Larry's question yesterday, I'm kidding, but it might have been the final straw. So who's QB2 and who's QB3? And are you going to decide that before game one? And could you decide it again each week? And Kyle's like, yeah. Which in other words means you guys are going to ask me this every Tuesday?
Yep, every chance you get.
Every Tuesday. We can't have that. So could they have had Trey Lance on the roster as the 3? Yes. Do they want that amount of noise to come with it? No. And then the other thing that I believe, there's no way for me to prove it, I'll never get a firm answer on it, but I believe when you look at the way they brought in Brandon Allen, OTAs, the number of options they gave him early in training camp this year, tells me that, again, we're just talking about today. We're here now. If there were a game tomorrow and Kyle was given the option of you've got to start either Trey Lance or Brandon Allen, I think he'd be more comfortable with Brandon Allen. And for me, those are the two reasons why Trey Lance is probably going to play on a different team this year.
Right, and that's kind of what I've been saying all along in terms of what I've seen and what I've gleaned from what the Niners have done, from bringing in Sam Darnold to bringing in Brandon Allen. It was pretty clear that they wanted to have other options at quarterback other than Trey Lance. And as you've even gone through these 2 preseason games and all the practices, the reps got allocated evenly. And it was interesting that Brandon Allen stopped getting reps in practice and Trey Lance and Sam Darnold were kind of split into 2s. That told me one of 2 things. Either they were set with Brandon Allen being the 3, or they were going to cut Brandon Allen, and it was going to be a real battle between Trey and Sam. And now it feels more likely that it's the former of those 2 scenarios, that they saw what they saw from Brandon Allen, and they decided, yeah, you're good enough to be QB3, so we're going to go ahead and showcase Trey as much as we can to try to see if we can't get him to a spot where we can trade him.
Absolutely. I think there's 2 things. Don't forget, he also missed a bunch of reps because I think he went and had a baby. So he missed a bunch of days because he had a baby. And so he missed 1 full week of practices with the 49ers. That was a part of it. But I think the first thing you said is also completely accurate. I think the 49ers, look at what they did against the Raiders. They started him. They started Trey Lance. They would like Trey Lance to show some things to the rest of the league. What he showed them against the Raiders was not what they wanted to show people. So, okay, let's go out and do it again. And then this time, if you want to be a real conspiracy theorist, let's wait until halfway through the 3rd quarter to when all the grocery store clerks come in to play defensive back, and let's let Trey fire some balls with his plus arm down the field and see if we can get some good stuff on tape. And they did. And they will try to use that to see if somebody would like to give them a draft pick in return. I know it doesn't feel good. It's a terrible trade. It's a terrible result to what was an exciting time for 49er football a year ago. It's a terrible end. All too quick to the story. Only saved by the fact that the Niners look awesome.
Sure.
And are supposed to be really good this year. So, in the end, it's okay. But look, if you're excited about Trey Lance and really hopeful about his future, this was awful. But I also don't think, as we sit here today, there's really any other way to do this.
You can keep him as QB3.
But
no
what's
doubt.
that? But what's that? You know what I mean? Like QB3.
That's a guy who's going to start for you in Week 11 is what it is.
I know your cynical thought on this is what it is.
It's not cynical.
It is.
Cynicism based on history,
but NFL
based
teams,
on the fact that the Niners tend to need additional QBs.
Right,
but teams don't look at it like
they don't.
You're QB3, but boy, we're going to need you as QB1 very soon. But you wouldn't just cut Trey Lance, and that to me will be the interesting thing. If no offer comes in, No, I mean, and at this point, it's not even a significant offer. I think they'd take just about any offer that comes their way to get anything back in return.
They want to move
on. If
on.
no offer comes in at all, do they keep him? Tom Pelissero, who joined us last segment, was intimating that there is a scenario where they could keep him and they could, try to shuffle a QB onto the practice squad through injury or whatnot. And I don't think that would be Trey Lance, but what, can Brandon Allen come up with a mysterious ailment in order to be on the IR?
I read that is like they can't cut him. They can't cut him. The financial ramifications are not what they want. That's not going to be what they choose, in my opinion. I mean, sure, I could be surprised by this, but based on what I've read about this and who I've talked to, the 49ers are not interested in cutting Trey Lance because it's going to the cap hit in 2023 is not good. It's not good. Now, if they trade him, there's a cap hit no matter what, but they actually would get some money added back to the cap if there's a trade. So that's why they're exploring that, and that's why I also think it is still on the table that they keep him. I do not think the 49ers want to cut Trey Lance. But we'll see. We'll see. I do think this is going to come together quickly. Drew in Sunnyvale. Hey, Drew, you're on with Willard and Dibs. What's up?
Hey, guys, what's going on? Obviously, big news. You guys played that clip from the 49ers-Packers game, Al Michaels, on the call. I was actually at that game, and, it's sort of been downhill from there. Like, I cannot imagine a bigger peak of Trey Lance's career with the Niners, and then it's been downhill, and then we are where we are today, right? And I mean, it's unfortunate, and you guys have stated it in previous shows. Like, timing is everything, especially in sports, right? And the timing for Trey Lance was just never there. And with the team being as competitive as they are, it's just unfortunate that it had to go this way. But I will say this: Dibs does have a point when he says that this better work. And Mark, I'm like you. I'm not a Super Bowl or bust guy. Having said that, the Niners better win the Super Bowl, because if they don't, it'll be an irreparable stain on the legacy of John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan, and I don't know how they recover from it.
Do you mean this year, Armani? Do you mean this year? Like, what if the Niners do what they do every year? What if they go to the NFC title game and lose? You think that has something to do with Trey Lance?
They got to at least get to the Super Bowl this year, because they have said that Brock Purdy is the guy, right? Brock Purdy is the guy who can take them there. Now they have to put their money where their mouth is and get there. Obviously, a bunch of other things can happen, but that's the nature of sports.
Yeah,
Thanks, Armani. I actually give him 2 years.
Thanks.
I give him 2 years to do it, because after 2 years, Brock Purdy's going to have to be paid. After 2 years, one of two things will happen. Brock Purdy's good, Brock Purdy gets paid, or Brock Purdy's no good, and you need to bring in a quarterback who also will then be paid. That's going to happen. So I give him 2 years, to Armani's point. You have 2 years in this window where your quarterback makes peanuts. Peanuts, Grandy. Peanuts. That's what he's making. After 2 years, no matter who your QB is, he's probably going to be making more than $900,000.
I'm with you on everything except for the concept that means that the Niners have to win a Super Bowl or else we riot. Like, that's
we don't riot, but
Brock Purdy has to be good. But
if he's good and they don't win it, and then in the third year, his contract is going to balloon. He's going to be making huge money.
Jalen Hurts has not won a Super Bowl. They paid him. Justin Herbert has not won a Super Bowl. They paid him. Joe Burrow has not won a Super Bowl. They're going to pay him.
But what does that do to their roster when they pay him? You end up losing players.
No doubt.
Philadelphia lost Javon Hargrave, who's now a Niner.
I am not arguing with you that the next 2 years are their best chance.
Yes.
I think Trent Williams is going to retire at some point. Yes, they're going to have to flip their cap with a court. That you're right on all of that. Let's just say, and again, I'd be as frustrated as anybody. But if they go to the NFC title game the next 2 years in a row, lose it both times, but Brock Purdy leads them to 12 or 13 wins both years and is legitimized, and it's a larger sample, you're going to pay the man, and you're going to be thrilled that the 49ers are as good as they are. You'll be frustrated that they haven't won at all, like the Buffalo Bills were with Jim Kelly, but no one would be like, fire the coach and fire Jim Kelly. So I'm never going to get to the point where it's you win the Super Bowl or you're out. Because it just, I don't know, man, like, that's just not, there's only one team that wins.
Yeah,
you know,
I was making that point in the crossover.
Andy Reid did that for years. They did that for years. The Eagles have won a Super Bowl, so I don't think they look back at this terribly. But if they hadn't won that year, if Nick Foles had not done what he did against Tom Brady, don't you think the Eagles right now would be like, dude, we should have kept Andy Reid? You know what I mean? He didn't win the Super Bowl, but he was a good coach.
Yeah.
And they won, and they went to a Super Bowl, all those things. Oh, there's so many comps between Andy Reid and Kyle Shanahan. He needs his guy. He needs his quarterback. And yes, that is part on him that he has not had that person yet.
That's all on him.
I think that they think they've got it now. We'll find out if they're right.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, if he doesn't get it right, if he didn't get it right with Mr. Irrelevant, if Brock Purdy regresses and the team has a year that's not as good as last year was, the spotlight in the hot seat. Right now, Kyle is not on a hot seat. He's like George Gervin on that ice throne. He's just chilling. His seat's not hot at all. But if you have a bad year and your quarterback doesn't prove to be as good as he was last year, the seat gets hotter.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess, like, I'm not in disagreement with you about the idea of it better work. I just think that's omnipresent. That's the NFL.
It is, but certain coaches in certain situations have more of a buffer than others. Bill Belichick, for example, he's not in it better work mode. He's more in that mode than he was last year.
Yeah.
But I've got to imagine that he's got a few years of not being great before it gets to the it better work mode.
You're probably right. I guess my point on it better work is, yes, there are made coaches.
Yes.
Greg Popovich. But when I say it better work, that was true for Bill at the beginning, too, right? Before he won a Super Bowl, it better work. Oh, you're going to give away Drew Bledsoe and go with Brady? All right, better work. Oh, my God, it worked.
It worked because Bledsoe got hurt, and then Brady popped, and so it wasn't the same level of decision as this one, where you traded 3 first-round picks for a guy, and now you can't even have him be your backup?
No, but that guy got hurt, and that led to Brock Purdy the same way Bledsoe led to Brady.
Sure.
And then when Brady played, they went, let's go with that. Let's get rid of Bledsoe. Well, that better work. And it did. So it's no different. And if Kyle does win a Super Bowl, that's going to be the end of that. And Kyle can write his ticket and coach for as long as he wants. And
absolutely.
All that stuff. Larry and Lafayette with Willard and Dibs. Hey, Larry, what you doing?
Well, I just am a little concerned about one thing, is I can't imagine other great coaches not coming out for today. It's like if we had sent Iguodala out to talk about the Wiseman trade. It's one of these things where this is a major decision to go with Trey Lance with the 3 number ones that you just mentioned. And situational communications requires that you have the right level of person at the podium on the day that you announce this. And I don't really even care about what happens in the future or the past. I just think that it was a really kind of a low-class decision of the coach not to be present today.
I disagree wholeheartedly, Larry.
Larry, thanks.
I disagree.
I would have liked to see him out there as well.
Today it's a depth chart move. Now, if they trade Trey Lance, I want to hear from him. If they cut Trey Lance, I want to hear from him. All he did was say that this guy's QB2 and this guy's QB3. And I know that we've all made it a big deal. Kyle's focused on Friday and the Chargers, and then he's focused on Pittsburgh. He's focused on his team. He already doesn't want to suffer through all of the nonsense that we and the fans are all hyped up about with the quarterback depth chart.
I don't know why that becomes relevant. He doesn't want to. Well, two tough cookies.
It's not his job
Yeah,
to go
it
out
is.
there. It's not
It's
his
Fred
job
Warner's
to
job?
go out there and explain
It's Fred's
the
job?
depth chart.
No, the person who
Fred
did it.
can avoid the questions.
Oh.
Fred doesn't know.
Exactly, but he's still the one getting the questions. Like, look,
Kyle's job is to talk every Tuesday. Today is Wednesday.
Kyle's job is to be the face of the 49ers.
I mean,
Kyle's job is to be the boss. And when major stuff goes down, and the 49ers had every piece, every hand in when this went down, it would make sense to not send your soldiers out there to speak for you. Do I think this is a disaster? Am I angry? No. But do I think that this is not the best boss thing that Kyle has ever done? Yeah, I do. Like, you don't send your peeps out to answer what are clearly the questions. No media member has anything to ask today. Nothing else. Nothing else.
This is the last day of camp. Fred, how was camp for you? How was your camp, Fred?
Yawn. Yawn. Hey, Fred, how does Eric Armstead look without Bosa? Oh, God. Nobody cares today.
I'm almost always on the side of you should go out there and speak, but
I rarely am.
I know this is crazy. Today is not one of those where I feel like this is a depth chart move. Trey Lance is still a 49er.
Come on, Dibs.
Kyle's got nothing to answer. Is Trey Lance still on the team? I mean, what's he supposed to say? For now.
Yes, then say that. It's not that hard. It's not like he would be pinned today. That's my point.
He got pinned yesterday.
When y'all wanted a press conference for Wiggins, and when y'all wanted a press conference from Farhan about Carlos Correa, you're all trying to pin him. I'm not trying to pin Kyle. Nothing has happened. But
exactly. So why does he have to speak? Nothing has happened.
No, I shouldn't say it that way. Nothing bad has happened that wasn't already the case. I know some people, the pick was bad. It was already bad. But today, as an organization, you declared. You did. Sam won the QB2 job the day after you said we weren't going to say who was QB2.
Right.
And today, you have declared. And Trey didn't come to practice. And you are going in a different direction. And that is the only thing anyone's going to care about. And if you're the face of the 49ers, it is my belief that you should be the one to answer those questions, not your star player on defense.
I wonder what your PR partner would say about...
Oh, she doesn't want anyone to ever talk.
Right. No,
she wants everyone on a helicopter on the Nepali coast every afternoon with absolutely no comments.
I just don't.
She's
I don't
texting
see
right now. I'll
where,
tell you what she says. I'm sure she's listening.
And I don't see. And what up to the lovely Christy?
Yep, 2 words. You're wrong. Yeah, I know.
Christy, you can text me. You have my number. Holla at your boy.
That's uncomfortable. Anyway, go ahead.
Except when I'm right.
Why don't you slide into her DMs?
I already have.
Do it there.
Yeah, I was complimenting her on the lovely pictures when you went to Mexico.
This is different. I am not
this
saying...
This is different. This is a big, giant nothing burger for the organization.
But Kyle does not have to answer to the move. That's not what I'm saying. I'm simply saying don't send Fred out. If Fred's going to talk...
Fred was scheduled to go out.
Yeah, that's hiding.
And if you're a reporter asking Fred about the QB depth chart announcement, then you're not doing your job.
Of course you are. What else are you going to ask anyone with the Niners today?
Fred, how was your drop today in the zone? I noticed your hips, your hip swivel was a little slow.
Yeah.
How were the run fits today when you guys were in your base defense?
Hi, Fred. How much are you planning to play on Friday against the Chargers?
Great question.
Yawn.
I'm going to give you a 3 for your Grant Cohn right there. A solid 3.
No, I didn't have a selfie stick out.
Kyle Shanahan he made a depth chart move. Does he need to speak to you media every time something happens on the depth chart?
Again, this role reversal is amazing. This is literally the argument you and I have had 8 times, and I've been on the other side every time.
I'm always on the other side.
He does not need to answer for something.
Well, he's going to get grilled.
There is major news, and you sent someone else out to speak.
Well, he didn't send him out. It was Fred's day.
But that's the deal. You guys all act like the Niners didn't know. Oh, gosh, it just happened.
It's a crazy quinkydink.
It's so hilarious that you all think that this isn't conducted. This is a $6 billion organization.
Kyle woke up this morning and did a deep think over his cup of Joe and thought, you know what? Today's the day. You know what? It's finally hit me. Trey's QB3, and he's actually QB4 and stuff.
Right. Are you people cruising around thinking, oh, damn, Pelissero tweeted it? Who do you think told him?
Trey Lance's agent.
This is all conducted with timing and planning, and this has all been the plan since March.
And it did come out before Trey Lance had a chance to not go to practice. So the news comes out, Trey Lance was already not going to go to practice.
Exactly.
Either the team said don't come, or Trey said, Coach, I'd rather sit this one out. I'm feeling my feelings today. Shout out Drake in my feelings.
It did not need to be today.
That played out. No, it didn't have to be today.
Do they practice tomorrow?
No, it's a walkthrough.
Okay, but they
walk through tomorrow.
But they're there. They could have
Will
called.
Trey Lance go to walk through?
They could have called Tom tomorrow. They could have called him tomorrow.
But Trey wouldn't have gone to practice today, and then it would have been, why isn't Trey at practice?
They didn't have to talk to Trey leading up to today about what the firm decision was. This is all done exactly as they want it to go.
Which is exactly why he didn't speak today, because he doesn't owe it to you or Tim Kawakami or various Matts.
I don't think he owes anything to the media.
That's what I'm saying. He doesn't. I didn't put those words in your mouth.
I didn't say that. So
and I didn't say that you said that.
He owes it to not Huck Fred
come on.
to the Wolves.
Poor Fred.
I'm just telling you, man.
Fred, did you hear the news about the QB depth chart?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did. What does it mean, Fred? Do you think Trey's better? Guys, I'm just a linebacker. I'm not in the QB room. Next question.
Right.
Fred, in base defense today.
I'm not saying that Fred Warner is now cowering in the corner in the fetal position because of what he's had to go through.
Getting grilled by the various Matts.
But that's not his deal. That's not his deal. You guys conducted when you wanted this to go down.
Yeah.
Okay, if you're the boss, when it goes down, say hey and stand up. And by the way, Kyle, through different reporters out there, is speaking publicly today. So, why not there? That's all I'm saying. Why leave Fred to do your job?
Poor Fred.
I know.
I hope he can pull through.
I know.
Man.
We'll check on him.
That podium can be pretty rugged.